Okay, hi, I'm Paul, and welcome back with another episode of Plusma-cast, the show where I share the experiences of professionals of the creative industry, hopefully to give you insight if you are thinking about such professions and vocations. So today I have William Kok, who is an independent musician and uh, writer, music writer.
I publish books.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so performer, teacher, and song.
Yeah.
And publisher of song books. Okay, so thank you very much, William.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Paul, for having me here. Yeah.
Okay, so like many times in Plusma-cast, we cover your story of when you first got started, how you got your skills, and further on, how you got started, and among other things, the insights if there's of the industry there is to share. So, beginning with the very first part, what was your first ideas that you thought you'd be a musician or you'd get into music?
No, actually, it never came to my mind before. Yeah.
Okay.
I actually learned all this from my teachers in the church, and also it's like all this one is just a hobby.
Right.
Yeah, but it's like because we love music, everyone love music, especially when you have stress, you have like study pressure, then you will start taking up the guitar and start playing. So that's where I develop all my skills and my hobbies. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a matter of your personal enthusiasm or personal interest first,
Yes,
before
yes.
you even consider that, hey, how might I, how might I carry this forward?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and what was it like, just practicing at home? Like, on the one hand, you say it's about an escape or a de-stress, a method to de-stress. But at the same time, it's were you thinking very much about how to take this forward, or you just keep playing?
Well, of course, in the beginning, it's like we all started in the church where my teachers, his name is Herbert Ng, and he actually spent time to teach me every week, every week FOC, Yeah, we started in a group and later on, because some of the youth, some of the friends, they are getting more busy in the studies, so they stopped. But I'm the only one who, stay behind for all this learning. That's where I got all my skills, all my, passions, because of my teachers. So then later on, when I was in college, I start to have the passions to start, teach a few students in a college, and also I'll do it for free, just to brush up my skill.
Right.
And to practice, because in the college time, you don't really have much time to play music. So the only time you can force yourself to do it is to teach.
Right.
Yeah, so that's how I developed the interest to teach. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's from hobby, and I mean it's from hobby, you're learning your skills and such. One thing is that how did you feel that you was confident enough to teach? You're confident enough to teach.
Okay. Important is like when you can help someone to learn a skill, from zero knowledge, they can start playing their own song, they can start sing and strum the guitar. It is something that makes me very happy, And by the way, during my college year, I studied electronic engineering. Yeah, I'm from the engineering background in the school, secondary school. I was a science student. So yeah, it doesn't actually cling to the music at all.
Well, I've had a few stories of that. People from IT, people from science or technical backgrounds, and they switch over to creative vocations, whether it be music or art. So your story is not unique, but it's still very interesting that it's a total switch of expectations.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's a total switch because what I'm doing now is actually I'm bringing the so-called the engineering concept, how to do things step by step into learning music, where I design all my books, all my syllabus, and all my teaching methods in a step-by-step way, so that people can learn faster, easier, and also it helps.
Okay. So the thing is that okay, so you've been honing a skill. I mean, you're honing your skills, and then it sounds more like a transition or an evolution to doing this, you could say, professionally or full time.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there still the engineering as a vocation still in your head that you would that you get out of college or university and do that first?
Well, after I completed my study in the college, I worked in the field for 2 years, in the engineering line. Somehow I learned a lot, but I deep in my heart I know it's like the passion is not there. Somehow you have to punch your card day in, day out. It's like get stuck in the jam, do sales, do service, and do some of the technical drawing. Something that is not really in me. And later on, I discovered that I have this skill that is called guitar, and I can start, teaching students and start making incomes, out of it. And that's where I stopped, decide to stop my engineering work and fully concentrate in teaching. Yeah.
So the part of the challenge was because what was your expression?
Yeah, I can say that because it's not so much about the work pressure or something. It's just that when you teach music, you can actually bring joy to people. But when you work in the engineering field, probably you have to work very hard. To serve. Well, I'm still serving people, but in a different way.
And through your own voice or through your own methods, which is through sound and music.
Yeah.
Okay, so how was that? How was those early years like? Because it's one thing that you're probably comfortable teaching, helping people understand musical concepts and musical and techniques of music. But then getting started as how might I do this? You could say professionally or as a vocation. You're putting yourself out there. Again, you're putting out there trying to find a crowd or customers even.
Yeah, all right. The story actually begins back in 2004, because I was from the engineering background. So those days it's very easy for us to create a website, to do some recordings, video editing, So those days actually, I promote all my music work online, especially those days where YouTube start booming, we actually record songs and upload, and we create our own website, and we put all our lessons into digital like PDF, and we start promoting it overseas. So that's how I get started. I think first of all, when you decide to start teaching, you got to list down a plan, how you want to recruit students, what sort of syllabus you want to teach, and how you can step by step guide a student from zero knowledge to become a guitarist. So these are some of the things I did those years.
And how do you measure, perhaps you could say, the momentum of the success of such plans?
I would say, well, I'm here today. I'm here today. I'm still alive, because probably sad to say in Malaysia, there's a lot of people still have these questions. Can you survive teaching music? Well, I did pretty well. Not to say I'm super rich or super wealthy, but it's like I have a happy life,
Yeah, I mean, that's part of what I'm trying to cover with Plusma-cast, that whatever creative vocation, what we get as the perception of the value of the job actually is maybe not real, that it's just a fear because we don't know, it's not such a advocated type of job vocation or expression even. So I mean, it's interesting to hear that, hey, it's something that helps you it helped you sustain until this point.
All right. Well, I can say this is more like self-discipline. You have to first work out a plan to really commit in teaching, like 6 to 8 hours a day. And that's fair enough because a bank manager also required to work from 9 to 6 or maybe even more. But the problem is it's like some musician couldn't find this kind of job at certain hours.
Right.
So they have to mix up teaching, performing, or maybe at night they have to perform in a pub gig, just to maintain a kind of income.
Okay. So speaking of which, you mentioned that there's different things like gigs or events and such. So among the many things you could have done with the music skill and maybe the showmanship skill, you've practically just focused down, more on I mean, the events that you do for perhaps still your church, you still do that, right?
Yeah.
And also teaching music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how did you come to a decision and say, okay, maybe I don't need to do gigs, or it's something that you tried and it had a different result?
Yeah. All right. So actually, besides teaching music, I listen a lot to some of the good motivational speakers like Brian Tracy, Robert Kiyosaki. These are the mentors or gurus. They always stress on one thing. Whatever you focus, it will enlarge.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do like many things because in the end you don't get to anywhere. So be specific in one goal, one direction. So I choose teaching. One thing for me, I have to be honest, is like I'm not handsome, I'm not tall, dark, I'm not macho. So if I go into the artist line or entertainment line, I would die there.
No, there's probably a way to brand you. I mean, there's probably a way to brand you that work as a public figure.
Because I believe it's like being a teacher as your age start catching up, you actually gain more respect and you will have more reputations in the teaching line. Yeah, but if I'm in the entertainment line, this is my perception. It's like I might get old, not handsome anymore, and I'm getting less popular. Yeah, but as a teacher, it's something that I can do for a lifetime.
Right.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I mean, very interesting. And so, moving forward, okay, what are some of the challenges, or maybe not necessarily moving over, what are some of the challenges that you might be able to share in terms of trying to teach, trying to find students, or even trying to get the word out?
Actually, finding student is not a problem at all.
Okay.
There's big enough, the population is big enough for everyone, every teacher, It's like how many students you can get in a week. At most, it's like if you teach one-on-one and you teach 8 hours a day, probably in a week you can teach only like 30 plus to 40 students.
Okay.
And let's say if you're teaching in a group, that is unlimited. You can have a lot of group classes in a week. And from there, that is where you can serve more people. That is not an issue at all.
And so on one hand, it's you serving people, I mean, helping them develop skills, serving them and such, and they reciprocate, however. I guess, is it something that are you sharing your expression for them to find theirs?
Yes, because been teaching for the last 20 years. So we have encountered different types of people with different background and different needs in music, but they all come down to one particular dreams is they want to play music at the end of the day. So our duty is like a doctor, or I would say I'm still an engineer, but I will create the formula or the solution for them to learn this music instrument.
Okay.
Fast.
Okay, so one of the things that you've managed to do is you've mentioned that you publish a whole range of books about instruments. I mean, about instrument.
Okay.
Would you mind explaining? Okay, the type of books that you've done. You've got 40, right?
Yeah.
And also various instruments. So how did that idea come about?
Okay, now because for me as a musician, a teacher, my biggest wish is to pass my knowledge to the next generation. But how long can I live? At the most 60, 70, or if I'm lucky, 61, 65, Yeah, but a book can live longer than me, probably another 100 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is why when I start my career, I decide to write down all the things I know and, put it into books and start spreading it everywhere.
I mean, that is an initiative, as you say, to how can I further distribute my skill, further distribute your knowledge. Okay. And I guess the question I want to get the next step of the question is that there's a difference between you instructing someone and then people gaining knowledge from a book. So the contrasting difference is there. How do you see the result in skills that people try to learn?
Okay.
Book learn versus teaching one.
All right. Now the books is the tools because you can't just bring a piece of paper to the class and start drawing whatever notes you want to teach.
Okay.
So those books that I publish is actually serve as a tools for me to teach. Yeah, because you actually need to plan out the lesson step by step. It's just like a therapy or a procedure where you know which one is step one to help someone with zero knowledge to start learning the music instruments, you know. Yeah, so that's something I do, you know. It's like just design the whole thing step by step, and then later on top up with nice songs, you know. Yeah.
And among other things, you've also gone is from guitar to ukulele and also to the kalimba, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the guitar is probably still your main instrument.
Yeah.
And suddenly so how did these ideas of, you know, the ukulele and the kalimba come about?
Okay, now because when we teach music instruments, we also, you know, consider this factor that is like what instrument suitable for the age group. Like last time before they discover ukulele, they always say, oh, guitar is the best, you can travel with a guitar, it's easy learning, you know. But then later on when the ukulele came about, you know, then suddenly it became very popular and everyone start rushing into this, you know, especially like someone will start selling the instruments, some will, you know, start with like short courses just to teach how to sing and strum. So I did something further, that is to create finger-style versions of the ukulele solo,
Right.
where they can, you know, learn to perform the complete song with one instrument. Yeah, that's something you can check on my video, you know. Yeah, so that is something people want to learn. Yeah, because if you talk about just sing and strum, probably you can learn at home, learn from YouTube or any other medias, you know. But let's say this kind of skillful playing, yeah, it's something, you know, you need to write it down properly with the books and start teaching.
Okay. I've heard of fingerstyle once or twice before, but I haven't researched it yet to say, okay, why is the form of string instrument, playing this string instrument, have such a term called fingerstyle? So would you mind, you know, for the audience, just explain what's it about?
Okay. Now, so fingerstyle is just a term that explain when you play the guitar, you're playing with the style of the fingers. So those days they call it the classical way because the song they play will be like a classical song, like. Okay. So this is also a style of the fingers, the finger picking. But nowadays, because we have like modern songs, so we don't call the modern song the classical. So they use the word fingerstyle to, how should I say? It's like to recategorize this style of playing. Okay, where you can add in like percussions style. It's like twinkle twinkle little star, simple as that. Right? See, without singing, you can just present the whole song with the guitar, and you can also play with style like. Yeah, so that's what they call fingerstyle, but this is just one part of it. It is so wide, and it's like it takes a long years to discover everything. You know.
I mean, like any skill, as you've explained, that it takes years or it takes a lot of, whether it's teaching or practice or such.
Yeah.
I guess one of the other things is, how do you find the effort to focus on your craft? You've read, I mean, as you explained, you know, you've read some leaders or some inspirational speakers, and they say, try to focus on your craft. So how did you find that discipline to be able to do, to be ensure that you get this far?
To focus in let's say in teaching, it's like you must make sure you don't get swayed away by other temptations, you know, because sometimes along the way you might see better deals or better offer from another industry.
Yeah.
You know, for example, you know, sometimes you have friends start talking to you about insurance, direct sales. You know, they will show you something even better or even luxuries on the other side. But once I have set the goal to teach, I think it's like that's what I have decided to do, you know. And I always believe if I work hard and well, there will be a good reward at the end of the day.
I mean, you define. I said such things that they such things they would people would call it opportunities and
Yeah.
other, and you use the word term temptation because it might take you away from your passion, I guess.
Yeah, or perhaps to say this is something that God specifically put it in your life, and it's a calling that you have to fulfill. Yeah. So sometimes it's like just stick to that calling. Yeah. Or maybe I shouldn't use temptation, opportunity, right?
I use the word
Yeah.
opportunity to be fair.
But yeah, fair, yes. But as for me, I think it's something that well, since God put in my heart to be a teacher, it's like I believe the blessing is there.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, you've certainly and you certainly prove it after 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't mind, looking forward, or maybe getting your insight, looking forward, is there any plan to take your music further forward, beyond maybe teaching?
Yeah. Ever since I put my teaching material online, like I can reach out to a wider audience, especially the overseas crowd. Yeah. There are people actually visiting my website and download my materials every day. So that is actually something I always get busy with. You have to attend the email, message, and also questions, and sometimes a special requests, to write certain songs. So yeah, so probably like this is something that we don't really like boast around because we are busy with so many works. Yeah, and also it's like now I have like a few education website. They actually recorded my teaching methods and start promoting it in different countries. So yeah, that's how we can expand.
I mean, the internet is definitely opened up, you could say, the broader scope of what you do. So, but is there any other plans to specifically work with it?
Well, the only way is to train up more teachers, or you have to pass down your passions to more people, so they can continue to do this work. Yeah, but I hope they can do even better than me. Because this is all about like spreading music, spreading joy. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm doing at the same time. We train teachers.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that mean you might have to go out there and travel a bit to respond to
travel every month.
Oh, you travel every month.
Every month, yeah. But now I have to cut down because like with family commitments, is like at the most like every month I can only do 2 shows or 2 workshops. Yeah.
What are some of the adventures or stories if you don't mind sharing about this this phase where you get to travel but you're still pushing out music education, that kind?
Well, I will have to visit a few countries, or maybe just talk about Malaysia. I will visit like Sabah, Sarawak every year. I'll visit like Penang, Ipoh, because I think like the music school over there, they support me and they purchase the books. So my role is I have to give them in return the kind of support, to train the teachers and help them to recruit students. That's my role, besides just teaching every day in KL.
Right.
Yeah.
And what about further out?
Further out will be Hong Kong and China. Yeah, so I visit these two places every year to do like music camp,
right,
and events, to reach out to the international school, so that we just bring the musical culture
right
there.
Okay. Yeah. One curious question is that you've traveled to different countries, and people learning music will learn, will seek out the teachers and such. The question I'm trying to get at is, there are, you've highlighted at least 3 different countries, 2 to 3 different countries, and there are people with perhaps different ideas of music culture, and whether they might be more receptive or maybe more resistant. Is there such an impression or such an idea that you can comment?
Of course. You see, it's just like, you know, not everyone will like KFC or like McDonald's, you know, perhaps they like it's like what Texas chicken, you know. Everyone will sure have the different taste, but we just stick to our own genre, you know,
Okay.
those music that we are comfortable with, because I cannot just try to please everyone, you know. I can't just suddenly turn into a rock star or a heavy metal guy with an electric guitar, you know. So I'll stick to my instruments and my style of playing, and I'm sure, you know, we will meet the right person to share. Yeah.
I mean, now, especially now with as they say, like, you know, the
Yeah.
internet and modern
Yes,
modern
yes,
communication, people,
yes,
you know, it's either you push far enough that people find you, or
yes.
maybe you're that good that it'll happen. It'll
Yeah.
also happen.
But what we learn is like in our line we should work together. It's like so happen, let's say if I meet a group of youngsters that they don't like my style of playing and they like electric guitar, yeah, we always have friends who are very good expert in the electric guitar, you know, and that is where we will refer them to you know, serve these people, you know. Yeah.
So cooperation is not a bad thing, huh?
Of course, yeah. Why you must have the competitions, you know, in education, you know. It's like my belief is like, as a teacher, you can't call another teacher your competitor, because we are all doing the same work, that is to teach and educate the next generation. So yeah, the word competitor shouldn't exist in the teaching line.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I mean, it's something, sounds like, you know, one of those things I came across recently called um, the infinite thinking, where don't worry, you just do what it is,
Yeah.
and you know, the perhaps the energy or the goodwill will just keep flowing.
Yeah, because like everyone, we all have 24 hours, you know. It's like you spend 8 hours for work, you know, 8 hours for your own personal time, 8 hours for sleep, you know. Yeah, so you just have to work hard for that 8 hours and you will see your reward there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you don't mind, you know, one thing that
Yeah.
Plusma-cast we always do is I ask 3 questions that
Yeah.
hopefully you know, in your sharing it'll be advice for the people watching this. Okay, so the first question is for those who are looking now, for those who have the idea of getting to music, or maybe even thinking going as far as I want to be a music educator. Okay, for those who have the idea, what advice might you have for them?
Well, if you want to be a music educator, don't just narrow your knowledge in teaching. You should like expand yourself in marketing, in, you know, public speaking. You know, besides just music, you got to know a lot of things. You know, because like basically when you teach on your own, we can call that self-employed, or you are a business owner. So you have to work just like a business owner, where you have to, you know how to market yourself, how to communicate, and how to present or brand yourself as a teacher. Yeah, I think that is important besides just teach.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, having said that, then what advice might you have for those who, okay, they commit to the idea? Then what advice might you have for them to develop their skills?
Okay, to develop the teaching skill, you can sign up for some of the training classes. We conduct like training for teachers. We even help them to recruit students, you know. But on your own, what you can do is like do more study, you know, on how to plan your lessons and make it unique in such a way like you know, people will like it and start referring you to many more students, you know. Yeah.
Right. And you know, so from idea to skills, then to vocation. Okay, how might you advise those that, okay, now getting started? You know, as in your case, it was a near smooth transition from helping your friends to then start to think,
Yeah.
you know, you could do this for fees and such. So for the people with the same, you could say the same process or same ideas, what advice might you have for them that now they've got the skills and they need to, I guess, monetize it?
Oh no, yeah. How should I say it?
Starting out.
Okay, yeah. I think first of all, have a very clear written goal and a written plan. Yeah, I think that is the first stage, you know. And then second thing is have a very disciplined lifestyle, you know, where you make sure you have like enough working hours and enough rest, and also your personal development sessions where you upgrade and improve your own skill. Yeah, of course, beside that, do expose yourself to more events, you know, and get to know more people in this industry, like music centers, music suppliers, just widen the network. Because at the end of the day, you got to trace your main source of income is actually from teaching. So you got to like focus, just focus in teaching and do according to your plan, you know. Yeah.
All right. And probably the last one before we close the show, the question: do you have anything? I give the last word to you. So, do you have any last pieces of advice, or something you want to promote yourself about, or something you want to suggest?
Well, for musicians out there, it's like you don't have to work alone. Yeah, we already developed like a network, with the whole Malaysia, where all the good music centers, all the good musicians, we actually ready to help young musicians like you guys, who wanted to be a teacher or be an artist. Just come and look for us. We'll try our best to help you, and yeah.
So in this part, it's that there's an ecosystem out there, right, ready to cooperate or help people.
Yes, because as I say, I'm getting old. How many more years I can teach? So it's like it's time to train more youngster, fresh blood, people who wanted to be into this line, and just pass the baton and hope they will do a better job.
All right. So with that, I close out the show. You've been watching Plusma-cast. I'm Paul, and this is William Kok. If you want to know more about William, his work, or getting in touch with him for whether it's advice or whether it's events or whether learning from him, you can check out his website. You can email him. The details will be in the closing slide and the description. So with that, this has been another episode of Plusma-cast. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all again. Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.